Hi, welcome back to It's So Worth It, So Make It. I'm Claudia, and today I'm going to show you how to make a very special dessert dish. And it is from Hungary. And in Hungary, they call it Arany Galuska. And in this country, in the United States, we know it more commonly called as monkey bread. Now, in Hungary, monkey bread is made with raisins traditionally, but today I'm going to use chopped apricots because I just happen to love apricots. And this is a really great recipe to go crazy with your ingredients because you can make it tons of different ways. I'll get into that a bit later. First, here's what you're going to need. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is prepare our baking pan. Now you can use any kind of pan that you like. I happen to really like this bundt pan of mine, but you can use a cake pan or you can use a fluted tube pan, anything that you want. But you have to grease it down first or else your monkey bread will not come out when you bring it out of the oven. So just go ahead and spray it down with some cooking spray. Make sure you cover it really well. Make sure nothing will stick to that. Okay, great. Now we're going to set this aside. And this recipe, I'm going to use a homemade basic yeast sweet dough. And you could use a store-bought thing that comes in a can. But I've tried that before, and I would not do that again, especially after making a homemade dough. It is so much better. So after you've made your basic sweet dough, click here for the link for that recipe. You're going to go ahead and start putting some flour down on your work surface, because you don't want this dough to stick to anything because it is a bit sticky. So after you get plenty of flour down here, there we go. We can go ahead and dump this out of our bowl. And it's a really beautiful dough. It's very soft, it's springy, can be used for lots of different things. Today, we're going to make an amazing monkey bread out of it. Okay. Now that we have our dough on the table, just roll it around a little bit and get it covered with the flour because we're going to start rolling this out and cutting it up, and we don't want it to stick to anything. There we go. Now at this point, you don't have to roll it out. You could just take little chunks of it like this and use it this way. But I like to roll it out. That way I can make lots of pieces in a very short amount of time and just get going on the recipe that way. Save some time. So now that I have plenty of flour, go ahead and roll it out. And don't worry that it's getting deflated because it's going to rise for a little bit again after you get it all dressed up and in the pan. There we go. And I like to use my pizza cutter for this because I can just whiz through it really quick and make lots of different little pieces. And size is not a huge factor here, nor is shape. So just go ahead and go for it. And it may look like you're going to have a lot of pieces. It's okay, don't worry about it. And don't worry about how it comes out when you're cutting it. It's not going to matter. Okay, great. Now we're going to dust this with a little bit more flour. Because the last time I made this, I remember that all these little pieces just love to stick together. Already it's sticking together. That's okay. And we're going to try to just kind of move this off to the side so that I can show you how to make the filling now. Okay, so what we have to do is get our filling ready. So now we're going to mix together our ground walnuts and our sugar and our cinnamon. And this is all going to get mixed together. Just whisk it up real quick. All right, now that that's all nice and mixed together, we can bring over our melted butter and put those here. Now we're going to need our pan back because at this point, we're going to start taking our little pieces of dough that we've just cut up and getting them dressed and ready to bake. So the first thing we want to do is take our little dough balls here and send them swimming in the butter. Wait, doesn't that sound good, swimming in butter? The only thing I can think of better would be swimming in chocolate. Why not? And after they go for a swim in the butter, you can throw them in the nut mixture, and they'll get coated there too. All right. And I want to get enough done here so I can show you how to make the first layer. There we go. And just throw them in the bottom of the pan. Doesn't have to be fancy. We just want to get a layer going down there so I can show you when the apricots come in. Now, back to the flavoring component of this dessert. There's a lot of different ways that you can do this. In Hungary, they like to use raisins. In the United States, we also have been known to use raisins in monkey bread, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. However, you can do lots of other stuff with monkey bread too. There's a lot of different ways that you can prepare the dough. Even you can put cinnamon in the dough, nutmeg, apple pie spice in the dough. You can even substitute apple pie spice for the cinnamon in this mixture and use dried apricots, which you soaked in a little bit of warm water, in the dough, in the mixture instead of the apricots. And what have you made? Apple pie monkey bread. Oh my gosh, doesn't that sound amazing? Yes, and you know what else sounds amazing? Pumpkin pie spice, perfect for holiday time. Oh my gosh, and you can use raisins with that one, and it would just be fabulous. So after we've gotten one layer of our dough mixed in here in the bottom of our pan, which I've almost got, I think just a few more here. Yes, this is looking absolutely great so far. And it's perfect because these little pieces, you're going to pull them away when it's all done cooking, and it's going to be great. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is sprinkle some of your fruit. Now, if you've chosen to use raisins, this would be raisins that you're sprinkling in and not chopped apricots. If you wanted to use the apples for an apple pie spice flavored monkey bread, these would be your apples. Any fruit that you like. Ooh, orange cranberry monkey bread. Oh, yeah, that would be amazing. I would just put some orange zest into the dough itself when I'm making that. And you could use cranberries as your fruit here instead of apricots. And I just love apricots, so I'm not particularly shy about putting them in here like this. I think it's great. All right, so this is how it's going to look when you have one layer finished. After one layer, keep going. And you want to fill your pan to about 2/3 full. And the reason for this is because you're going to let it sit and rise for about half an hour before you put it in the oven. So don't make the same mistake that I made the first time I made this. I filled the pan all the way up. It rose out of the pan. It was falling out. I didn't know what to do. I thought, well, maybe if I just go ahead and bake it, it will be okay. No, it wasn't okay. It fell over into the oven, and I had a huge mess. So don't do that, okay? Just 2/3 full. Let it rise. When it's done rising, it'll be just to the top of your pan, and it will be perfect. So I'm going to keep working on this until I've got my 2/3 full pan. Okay, now that I've got my pan almost 2/3 full, I'm going to finish it with one more layer of dough, and then I'm going to cover it and put it in a warm place for about 30 minutes. Now, as I've said before in other videos, I live in a place where it's nice and warm outside most of the year, and I have a little table outside on my back patio. So I cover this and I put it outside, and it only takes about half an hour to get filled to the top, to rise up that high. So if you don't live in a place like that, that's totally okay. Put it on your stove, turn on the overhead light, cover it, and let it go. It'll probably take closer to 45 minutes or maybe even an hour, but it will rise, don't worry. Okay, here is our Arany Galuska, already risen, it's second time coming back in the house from outside. And look at how it's just nicely up to the top of the pan. That's perfect. That's exactly what you're looking for. And 15 minutes into that rise time, preheat your oven to 375 degrees. And we're going to bake this for about 30 minutes. And after 30 minutes, you want to do the toothpick test. And in this case, since it's such a deep pan, we want to use a wooden skewer if you have one. And insert it into the deepest part of your dessert. If it comes out clean, then your dumplings are fully cooked and ready to come out of the oven. So I'm going to go put these in the oven now. I can't wait for them to come out, and I'll show you how to serve this. All right, now our Arany Galuska is out of the oven, and it's cooked to a perfect golden brown. It was in there for 30 minutes, and then I let it out of the oven and sit around for about 10 to 15 minutes until it was cool enough that I could touch the pan without hurting myself. So here is what we need to do next. And this is the scariest part of the entire operation, is getting this thing out of the pan. So I'm going to attempt a golden dumpling inversion. Let's see how I do. And, you know, I guess it never hurts to do a little bit of a prayer at this point, because you never know what can happen. So here we go, 1, 2, 3. And I think it's going to be okay. All right. And lift this off. Perfect. Wow, that was amazing. All right. So here we have it. It was, okay, it wasn't exactly perfect, but it was close enough, so we're not going to worry about that. Now, let me show you how we're going to plate this up and eat it. All right. So, first thing, let's get it up on the pedestal that it deserves to be on, because it's so beautiful. And we'll start tearing it apart a little bit here. Okay, now there are no real clear lines of demarcation amongst each individual dumpling, but don't worry about that. Just pick a spot and start pulling it apart. And oh, look at that. It just comes apart in these beautiful sections. 2 or 3 of them attached. Oh, together. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It smells so amazing, and it looks amazing. Wow. Oh, and this is falling onto my plate. Perfect. And I think this would be a very good time for me. I need to give a little bit of a shout out to my buddy Bensa. Thanks. Oh my gosh, I could not have done all these recipes without you. You are my savior with these things. And Bensa is my buddy who lives in Hungary, where I get all these ideas for the stuff that I love to cook. And he is very patient with me and tirelessly answers all my questions about metric conversions and all these other things, which normally we wouldn't have to worry about. But every single thing that he has helped me with has turned out amazing. Thank you so much. Oh, and look at this. This is one of the results of that tireless answering of questions that I'm famous for doing. And look at that. It's just beautiful. All right, so the next thing we want to do is I have to show you that in Hungary, they like to serve this with a custard sauce. Now, I didn't have time to make a custard sauce. That could be an entire video all by itself. So I decided that this was one of the times during a recipe when it's okay to cheat on ingredients. So what I decided to use instead was melted vanilla bean ice cream. It's got all the same stuff in it, so why not? I just saved myself some time. So just take some of this gorgeous ice cream that's melted and drizzle it on top. Or pour it or whatever, because it doesn't matter. It's looking so amazing right now. It just, who cares how you get it on there? So great. A little bit more, because I love decadent food. Okay, perfect. Now let's try it. Oh, it just smells, oh my gosh, it smells so amazing. I just can't wait. All right, enough talking. Let me try a little piece of this. Mm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Oh, you've got to try this. It's so good. There's that pop of the apricots, that freshness, that little tart that it gives, and the sweet dough and the cinnamon. I can taste everything. I can smell the nuts. Oh my gosh, it's so yummy. Wow. All right. Arany Galuska, Hungarian golden dumplings, apricot monkey bread. I don't care what language it is. I don't care where you come from. Everybody's going to love this stuff. I hope you can make it. It is so great. Now, I want to thank everybody for watching. Thanks to Bensa for all his help with all my recipes. And oh my gosh, there are more recipes to come from Europe, from America. So if you like what you're seeing, please subscribe and I'll make lots more videos for you. Thanks for watching. Bye.